Hey everyone, Mah-Dry-Bread here. Pokemon Black with only one Vanillite was a pretty hard solo run. Let's follow that up with one that's going to be way harder than it seems. Today's the day that we figure out, would I be able to beat Pokemon Fire Red with a team of only one Magcargo? So I've got to explain why we're using an evolved Pokemon first, right? What you're seeing right now is Slugma's stats on the left, and Magcargo's stats on the right. As you can see, we become more tanky when we evolve, but other than that, our stats hardly raise at all. What makes a Magcargo run interesting is that Magcargo actually takes more damage from water moves than Slugma does, despite the boost in defense and special defense. We actually have a bunch of really bad weaknesses, with a 4 times weakness to both ground and water, and a 2 times weakness to rock and fighting. Well, both ground and water are pretty common types, and we are incredibly slow, so this is about seeing if we're tanky enough to survive even against things that have such a large type advantage over us. By level up, our moveset isn't great, but it's not totally horrible. Ember and Rock Throw early on are decent, and I could see Amnesia saving us at some point. Flamethrower and Rock Slide are obvious upgrades from Ember and Rock Throw, and getting Body Slam eventually isn't a bad idea. By TM, we could add Sunny Day to that lineup of moves, but other than that, I'm not very interested in the TMs. Maybe Rest could work for healing back up in between Pokemon that are super effective against us, but it's hard to say how necessary that's gonna be. Maybe a moveset of Flamethrower, Rock Slide, Body Slam, and Amnesia is what I'll end up with, although I could see Sunny Day helping more than Amnesia. It's hard to say, we'll see how things go. Like always, I'm writing the script as I go through with the challenge, so this part is being written before I've started. Everyone comment down below and guess if I can win or not. I figure that I'll win, but I think I'm gonna need to be level 100. I remember how hard this was in Emerald. I hardly survived that one. Let's see how it goes in Fire Red. Let's explain the rules. In combat, I can only use Magcargo and Slugma. I'll need other Pokemon to use HMs, but I won't be allowed to use any of those Pokemon in battle. No glitches or exploits, no items in battle, only Pokeballs, held items, and items outside of combat are allowed. Also, if you enjoy this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let's do this. So, right off the bat, I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Charmander with Slugma so that we can do the whole run with it. I picked to replace Charmander so that our rival would have Blastoise, probably the hardest for us to fight. Our nature is relaxed, for more defense and less speed. I mean, I would have preferred special attack, but if our defense is already our best stat, and speed is already our worst, you could argue that this would give us the best net gain of stat points total, so I'm gonna stick with it and see what happens. I name him Magcargo, like last time. I decided to start with Slugma just like I did last time. It just feels right to start with the base form, you know? We won't evolve until all the way at level 38, so this is probably gonna be a difficult start. Okay, so first I had to grind outside of the forest for a little while because all we start with is Yawn and Smog, so we're pretty much useless. I was routinely losing fights to level 2 Pidgeys and Rattata just because Smog would miss a lot and hardly do any damage even when it did hit. Then once I learned Ember, I grinded in the forest. Obviously I've got to for quite a while. The first 2 gyms are super effective against us and they resist our fire moves. I'm gonna need to have to hit at least level 15 so that I get Rock Throw, but even then, I don't think that it would get me anywhere close to winning. I think that this is one of those runs where I'm gonna need to hit something like level 20 before I even stand a chance, but I can imagine that the water gym is gonna be much harder than even that. I'm just hoping that the rock gym isn't too horrible, then at least I can fight every single trainer but the hikers in Mount Moon to prepare myself for that rival fight. At least if I can win that one, then I have access to way more trainers in Nugget Bridge and all the other routes. I strongly think that this is one of those challenges where we have to do both rival fights before I'm gonna beat the water gym. Who knows though, maybe I'm gonna be level 29 and using Amnesia before I can beat the water gym. So after a very long grind session to level 20, where we had run out of power points once per level up, we actually had an easy time with the rock gym. Part of it is that Brock's AI is set to only use Rock Tomb if it would get the knockout rather than spamming it from the start like he absolutely should have been doing. Now let's go take the trip over to the next rival fight. On our way there, I took the Helix Fossil. I knew that if I didn't say what I took, you'd all ask. Actually, now that I think about it, everyone ask anyway. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. So I got to the rival fight at level 25, and I had to take a few tries of this because Pidgeotto often used Sand Attack right at the start. Well, this time he didn't, so we got to fight Squirtle on even footing, but we weren't hitting very hard, and he definitely was. We got him pretty close to fainting, but by the end, of course we didn't win. I really don't think I'm that many levels away from a victory, though. I bet I'd be strong enough to win at level 28. If not, 29 would get me Amnesia, and that'll save us. Alright, level 28 did the trick. We're faster than Pidgeotto, so we take less damage, and although Squirtle could still have beaten us if he kept using Water Gun, he wasted a turn boosting his defense instead. The rest of his team was so easy that it looks like we didn't even need Amnesia. Now that doesn't mean that we're past the hard part. Here's what I'm worried about. At level 38, we evolve into Magcargo, and that's really not far away. I'm worried though that we're going to be better at the Water Gym before we evolve, not right after it. The moment we evolve, we're going to start taking crazy damage from water moves. I think what I want to do is fight as many trainers as I can until I have Flamethrower, but before I evolve, then I go try to overpower Misty's team with it. I think that'll probably work out better than just evolving and then getting messed up by Bubble Beam. Alright, this is a problem. I hit level 36 and got Flamethrower, then tried the Water Gym a few times. I seem to be extremely close to getting a win, but it never quite happens. Starmie does just extremely slightly more than half of my health and damage, so we always go down in 2 hits. If we could just survive a second hit, then we could win, but if I evolve, then water will be even more dangerous. I would say I could use Amnesia, but then Staryu's gonna hit us, and we're back to the same situation of not having enough health. The right move might be to level up a few times, but without evolving, just so that I can save it for after the fight. I think I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna get to level 38 and just not evolve yet. If you want to see how agonizing this fight is, by the way, check this out. I just failed 10 times, and this is the closest that I got. There actually was one try where I survived the second hit with 2 health, but I got confused and hit myself. It's the worst. Why is Water Pulse never this good when I use it? I'm gonna just gain 1 more level, then I think I would survive the second hit more often. Yeah, literally 1 try later and 1 level later, and we survived the second hit with 1 health left, letting us win this awful fight. Alright, I'm gonna go evolve and then sweep the rival in the electric gym because there is no way they stand a chance. Alright, so the rival fight was nearly a no damage sweep because we're so over leveled now. Obviously there was nothing they could do to us. After that is the electric gym, and of course, we are slower than them, but they never did anything too annoying like paralyze us, so it was incredibly easy as well. Alright, so we're going on to an easy chunk of the run now. The Pokemon Tower rival fight and the first Giovanni fights are almost always easy, and although the grass gym is a problem in some runs, we're a fire type, so you know it's gonna go fine. Really, I think we're gonna absolutely breeze our way through the next bit, so let's just get it out of the way. Oh, and by the way, I went ahead and added a ton of new rewards and perks to the YouTube membership and Patreon stuff, so if you're a YouTube member and you've been one for ages, you might want to recheck your membership page and see what new perks you have. Especially because on the recent streams of the big streamathon here on YouTube, a lot of people have been gifting subs, and so a lot of people who weren't even at the streams ended up getting those subs. You should double check and see if you have one or not. Wait, I'm calling them subs, because on Twitch they call them subs. YouTube memberships, you know what I mean? I hate... Okay, on YouTube, what is called a subscription, on Twitch is called a follow. On Twitch, what's called a subscription, on YouTube is called a YouTube membership. That's why I'm getting confused. Yeah, YouTube members, some of you got gifted stuff. You should check and see if you get these videos early and stuff like that. Thanks for supporting the show. So first I go to the grass gym, get that out of the way, and of course they didn't stand a chance at all. After that was Giovanni, where we took almost no damage. We're just way too strong for this middle part of the run. And last is the rival fight. It was so easy that we didn't even get hurt. They had a chance, but they didn't take it. Even if they crit, though, I'm sure we would have been fine. Alright, now we're finally on to the harder parts. We have the Poison Gym and the Fire Gym that I think will be easy, but then it's our rival, Giovanni, Psychic Gym, and Ground Gym, then the rival again. I think all the rival fights will be awful from now on, and so will the Ground Gym fight, but let's just get the Poison and Fire Gyms out of the way. We double resist fire, so I doubt that's going to be hard, but I can see the Poison Gym maybe being a problem if they mess with our accuracy or hit Toxic. So let's go find out. You know, I was a little worried that my low speed would lead me to getting poisoned early on, but things worked out pretty well until the end against Weezing when we got hit by Toxic and he kept using a Hyper Potion. We actually ended up taking a lot of damage, but yeah, we got the win. Okay, the Fire Gym was actually really weird. Right away, Growlithe wasn't doing anything to us, so I maxed out our special defense with Amnesia and took him out. Then they sent out Arcanine. Well, that means our attack is way down because of being hit by Intimidate twice, so Rock Slide wasn't really doing all that much, but a crit took him out. Ponyta was a problem though. It kept using Bounce, and quickly, we got paralyzed. I got hit quite a few times before I eventually took it out. Just for Rapidash, just spam Stomp and Bounce, so we're missing and flinching constantly. It took forever thanks to that and his Hyper Potions, but eventually, we won with about a third of our health left. I didn't think I would take this much damage when I double resist fire, but paralysis and flinches are a nightmare combo. We have a defense nature too, and we took that much damage. Alright, it's time for the actually hard fights. We have the Silph Co rival fight, Giovanni, the Psychic Gym, the Ground Gym, and the rival again. I think the Ground Gym could be hard because we're double weak to ground, and the rival fights are probably going to be brutal. I expect to be slower than most of their team, so I figure Amnesia is going to be what gets us through. I just hope that I can set up enough against Pidgeot without running the risk of getting hurt too much. I can't really remember if he has Sand Attack this late in the game or not, but if he does, that could be a huge problem for us. I'm not really worried about the Silph Co Giovanni fight or the Psychic Gym though. I think both of those will be easy first tries. Let's see how the rival goes. Alright, rival time. Right away, Pidgeot is doing almost nothing to us, so I took the chance to max out our special defense. He hit a Feather Dance, so our attack is way down, but that's okay. I think Flamethrower is going to carry us through just fine. Once we maxed out, we just hit him to make him faint. Second is of course Blastoise, and I'm really happy I used Amnesia first, because his Water Gun was doing a lot of damage. If he had held on to that Hyper Potion or had a stronger water move, then I would have lost, but we took him out with only 52 health left. Third is Execute, who's a one-shot, but fourth is Alakazam. He used Combine, so our first hit didn't make him faint. And on the second turn, he let off a Future Sight. I took him out, but there's a ticking time bomb now. Last is Growlithe, and I couldn't one-shot it with Flamethrower. I was worried that Future Sight was going to finish me off, but we hit another Flamethrower to take him out right before. I'm not sure if Future Sight is affected by our special defense buffs or not, but if not, then I think it would have taken us out. I know that Future Sight's a little weird in some of these early games. Giovanni right after was of course really easy with Flamethrower, but I could see it being a lot more difficult at the Ground Gym. That Dugtrio could really mess us up, and all ground moves are physical in this game, so we can't save ourselves with Amnesia. I just have to hope that our super high defense carries us through. I'll slap on a Quick Claw, and that might help us against the Dugtrio. Hey, at the Psychic Gym we got our answer as to if Future Sight bypasses special defense buffs or not. Looks like it doesn't. The whole Psychic Gym was really easy thanks to Amnesia making us way too tanky for them to hurt. I was kind of thinking that Future Sight might bypass stat changes because I know in these early games it bypasses type effectiveness, but it looks like it still takes your special defense buffs into account. Alright, so the first try at the Ground Gym, and it's clearly not great. Rhyhorn is easy, but Dugtrio takes out half of our health with Earthquake, then Nidoqueen takes out the other half. Well, even if we had gone first against Dugtrio to take one less hit, then Nidoking would have just Earthquaked us as well. We're actually pretty close to a one-shot on Nidoqueen though. I think that we might just need a few more levels before we could win this one pretty easily. So I come back 5 levels higher, and this was wild. Dugtrio did less damage before going down, and Nidoqueen was a one-shot this time. But Nidoking hit us with an Earthquake that took us down to only 5 health. I thought I was going to faint when the last Rhydon survived with a Sliver and used Rock Blast, but he actually missed, so we took him out. Man, if he used something more accurate, we would have lost for sure. Alright, this is what I expected. Like usual, the Pidgeot at the start can't do anything, so I just maxed out my special defense, but Blastoise just wrecks us with Water Gun. It's not even close. The worst part is that I can't really rely on physical attacks to beat him, since I always just get hit by Feather Dance at the start. See, this is why I think that I need to be level 100 to beat the game like in Emerald. We seem really strong, but as soon as we deal with a water type, we're useless. He's still using Water Gun. How bad is this going to be in the final fight when he's got better moves? Alright, level 70, and this took so many tries because we kept getting crit. Blastoise now makes it rain every time, but Pidgeot doesn't always use Feather Dance anymore, so I was able to Body Slam early to paralyze him, and then I kept going for Rock Slide. This failed a bunch of times, but on this try we actually did knock him out. Problem is that it's still raining, so Flamethrower can't one-shot Rhyhorn, and we get messed up by Rock Blast before we take him out. Growlithe went down in one Rock Slide after it dropped our attack, and Alakazam only disabled Rock Slide while we were using Flamethrower, so we took him out. Last is Execute, but of course he's a one-shot. Man, that was not easy, though. We're on the road to the end of the game, and I'm not really feeling great about this next chunk. Lorelei is probably going to be awful because of all of her water moves, and Bruno shouldn't be easy either thanks to his fighting moves. Agatha is probably going to be a nightmare since she has fast Pokemon that can put us to sleep, and Lance's entire team resists fire. Really, all of the last 5 fights of this run are probably just going to be awful. We'll see what my stats are when I get there, but I really don't think I'm winning below level 100. Now that we're at the Elite Four, let's take a look at our stats. Man, our defense is absolutely amazing. I kind of wish that the special defense was higher, but I guess we didn't luck out on our IVs on that one. Actually, our speed is a lot higher than I was expecting it to be. Maybe our speed IVs are good. Actually, I think that I probably got a lot of speed EVs while grinding early on in the run. That tends to happen a lot when you're grinding against early game enemies, I find. I think Rattata and Pidgey both give speed EVs after all. I could be wrong about that though. I've been debating for a while on if I want to replace Amnesia with Sunny Day, and although I'm still not totally sure, I think Amnesia might still help more. It doesn't just protect us against water moves like Sunny Day does, it also protects us against our rival's Alakazam, and he's really dangerous. If we were faster, then I would say Sunny Day would be better because we could sweep, but we're not. We're really slow, so I'm gonna stick to Amnesia for now. Make your final guesses on if we can win this or not. Let's do this. First is Ice Trainer Lorelei. So I start by trying to use Amnesia and instantly got absolutely wrecked by Surf. Oh, I knew this would be bad, but I thought that we would at least take a little less damage than that. Make your guesses on what level we need to be to win this fight, because I'm gonna say 90. I know that sounds high, but did you see how much damage we just took? If we're slower than our whole team, then we're doomed. Hey, did you think that last try was bad? Level 75, and this time Quick Claw doesn't kick in, so we get hit by Surf before we use Amnesia, and it drops us to red health. Maybe I was lowballing it when I guessed 90. Alright, all the way at level 85, and this time we actually get one Amnesia in and get past Dugong just because she wastes time with Hail, when another Surf would have seriously hurt us. Cloyster was a one-shot with Flamethrower, and as Lapras came out, we hit really hard with Rock Slide and lucked out. She flinched, then ate a berry to get out of full restore range, so we could finish her off without getting hit. Of course, as soon as Slowbro came out, though, we lost. Yeah, I'm thinking we gotta be level 100 for this. I'm gonna try 90 and 95, but this is really feeling like a level 100 kind of fight. Alright, level 90, and now we can actually one-shot Dugong at the start with Rock Slide. I don't know if this is better or worse, since it means I'm not using Amnesia, but I kinda get the feeling that my best bet is just to get to Slowbro with full health, and hopefully crit my way to a win or something cheesy like that. And you know what, by level 95, I think I could get to Slowbro with full health, because I got really close to one-shotting Lapras with Rock Slide on the last couple tries. Maybe I can win at 95, but I'm still thinking level 100. So I take a crack at this a solid 4 times at level 95, and although we never got our one-shot on Lapras, we did luck out on one try, and all she did was confuse us. We never hit ourselves, so we got a knockout. But then Slowbro comes out, and even with a paralysis, we lose. The worst part is that I know that I could beat Jinx in one Flamethrower if we could just get past Slowbro. Maybe if I hit level 100 so that Lapras is a one-shot and I built up Amnesia a little bit against something a bit weaker like Cloyster, then maybe we could win this without needing lucky crits. Anything I can do to cut down on random chance is a good thing. Wow, this was just insane. So Cloyster picks the absolute most useless moves it could, letting us easily build up 3 Amnesia. Slowbro starts by doing way less damage with Surf, but then we still find a way to lose because she has full restores and Yon puts us to sleep. This is a nightmare fight. This has to be possible. I'm gonna keep trying. Alright, 4 tries later, and despite being put to sleep for ages, we finally got past Slowbro, and Jinx was a one-shot. You wanna know how we got past Slowbro? Lorelei took pity on us and started using Yon while we were already asleep. If she stuck to Surf, we would have lost. Look, I knew that Lorelei would be bad, but I didn't think it would be more than one entire page of this script. More than one page ended up being just describing how bad the Lorelei fight is. I guess I'm not worried about Bruno or Agatha anymore because we're such a high level, but I could still see Lance and our rival being quite awful. Second is fighting trainer Bruno. Obviously, his team is a sweep with Flamethrower with no issue. Third is Ghost Trainer Agatha. We ended up getting confused in this fight and wasted a bit of time, but we're so tanky that stuff like Golbat just isn't going to do much damage to us. As soon as we were past the confusion, we had a really easy time in the fight. Fourth is Dragon Trainer Lance. Right away, I built up one Amnesia as Water Onyx uses Bite, then I hit a huge Rock Slide. He uses Bite again, then a full Restore as we Rock Slide, then finish him off with a Body Slam. I'm happy he didn't just do a water move. Aerodactyl hits an Ancient Power right away but ends up burning himself, and we take him out in one Rock Slide. I didn't even know Ancient Power was a contact move. Dragonair is a problem because it hits Dragon Rage before we take it out, but second one is worse because it gets us with Thunder Wave. Plus, it lands with a Sliver, so we end up taking an extra hit from a critical outrage. We're fully paralyzed, then we hardly took it out after we got hit again. Last is Dragonite, and our health is low and we're paralyzed. Outrage does big damage to us and we drop him to low health with a Rock Slide. Then we go first on the next round thanks to our Quick Claw, and it ended up taking him out. That was way too close. Finally, the Pokemon Champion. Alright, after 5 tries where I got Sand Attacked or Feather Danced right away, I realized the only way to get past Pidgeot without being totally useless is to Rock Slide and hope Quick Claw lets me go first. The problem is, even when that happens, Blastoise has Hydro Pump. I was hoping that maybe if it missed, I could do decent damage, but nope. It missed, we did almost nothing, then we went down on the next round. I think it's safe to say I'm not gonna win this one. I got past Lorelei, but there's no way I'm getting past Blastoise spamming Hydro Pump. Well, that was brutal, but I still had a really fun time. Magcargo is just a fun Pokemon, and I'm happy I get to use it, even if I end up losing. As long as I get to the ending, then at least I get to make a full video, and that's a fun time. I got to do a full run. I really hope you guys like that run. The next Pokemon Challenge should be up next Saturday, like usual, with Pokemon Red, with only Poison-type Pokemon. This one got picked by you guys on the Patreon poll, and is very near and dear to my heart, because it's a throwback to a Pokemon Challenge that I did 14 years ago. I'll tell you about it next week on that video, though. As always, I'm looking at your suggestions in the comments section, in the challenge request section of my Discord channel, and on Twitter. Subscribe, ring the bell, stay tuned. Outro time. Okay, you'll notice that last week, there was not a Patreon or YouTube membership credit sequence on screen. And there isn't one this week either. Probably. There's probably not one this week either. So here's the problem I ran into. The problem that I thought I would run into is that it would be very hard to get the full list of names. It was at first because I downloaded, like, they let you download spreadsheet stuff for it, right? On both Patreon and YouTube of your memberships. And although they sent it to me, it was busted whenever I'd open it in OpenOffice. But then I started opening it in Google Sheets, and you know what? It displayed properly in there. Problem solved. I thought that was the hard part. No, okay, so I use Adobe Premiere. Adobe Premiere Pro, that's my editing software. I have the whole Adobe suite, it's always up to date and all that. And their stuff, oh man, they've been changing their text editor stuff in Premiere so much over the years. And the old one was so good for so long, and then they replaced it with a trash one, and then they replaced it again the next year with another trash one. So what happened was, I got the list of names. It's 497 names. All right, I copy it, I paste it in, and then the whole program is chugging. It is barely functional, because it turns out that the old text prompt system they had, the old text inserting system they had in the old versions of Premiere, I think it was like vector-based or something, where it runs smooth as butter, no matter what, it's easy to work with. I don't know why they ever replaced it. It doesn't matter how much text you put in, it'll run fine. The new one? No, it uses some kind of GPU, CPU combo thing. I don't know. Everyone seems to hate it, though, when I did Googling. There's been bug reports on how this is need to have been fixed for like 4 years now. It's maddening. This is on the Adobe community pages where like people are reporting that this has not been fixed for 4 years. So as soon as you paste it in, the whole program is barely working anymore. I can make it invisible until I go to render the video so that I can then upload it. Rendering is like saving the video if you don't know. I can do that and the program is fine, but as soon as I, turn that visual back on so that I can render it, The render will be fine. It's going at a normal pace. Usually I render these videos really fast and easy. You know, if it's like a 30-minute video, it takes like 15 to 18 minutes to render. Real snappy. It's not like the old days. But I see the preview image, and as soon as the preview image hits the credits, it stops, and the estimated timer goes up and up and up and up and up, and it's not making any progress. And I left it alone for a couple hours. It's not rendering. Oh, that's not good. So I tried to find a workaround. I brainstormed with you guys on Twitter. Someone suggested the idea of, why don't you make the whole credit sequence an image file in Photoshop, and then you just have the image scroll from like from top to bottom. I'm like, okay, that's a good idea. So I make it into a text, or I make it into an image file on Photoshop, and I save it as a PNG, so it's got that transparent background. It still runs not the best in the world, but it runs a million times better. I know I could render it, but the quality is horrendous. It looks great on Photoshop, but the thing is, you have to export it as a PNG. It's not save as, it's export on modern versions of Premiere. And the image file is so large because it's 500 names in a row. It's somewhere in the tens or hundreds of thousands of pixels long for the vertical length of the image file. When I go to export it, it says scale 33% with a warning symbol next to it. And when I hover over, it explains to me it can't do higher than 33%. It has to scale the image down to export it. And if I export it that way, even if it's in full quality, it scales it down 33% because that's the requirement. I put it in Photoshop, I adjust it to the right size. It looks terrible. It being at 33% quality makes it such bad quality, it's kind of hard to read. It looks horrendous. I don't know how YouTubers right now do credit sequences. Now, I know a lot of them. Just pirate old versions of Premiere. And honestly, I don't blame them because the price is extortionary. So a lot of them are using the old text system that still works for these things. I'm guessing other people also just use other editing softwares that might still use vector-based text, which again has no performance issues. But I can't just re-edit every single video in a new software I've never used before. I've been editing with Premiere Pro for more than half of my life. I'm 32. I started learning this program when I was 14 in an editing class in high school. So I can't just switch now. And although I do keep very old versions of Premiere just in case something happens, I don't have any of the versions that still run with that stuff, and I wouldn't be able to port all the files back to it easily. And I guess I could make a credit sequence and render it out in an old version every week and then try to import that as a massive video file over top of the new ones, but that is unbelievably impractical and would delay the making of the videos severely. And I feel like delaying the videos is the opposite of what you guys on the YouTube memberships and the Patreon want. You guys probably do not want the videos to be late because you're supporting me. That would be insane. So this is an open call to all editors currently watching this who have Premiere Pro. If you have the most recent version of Adobe Premiere Pro, go into your software and try to make a credit sequence that is 500 names long. And if you can figure out how to do it and actually have it like rendering and everything proper, please contact me. Either email me, you know my email, it's on my YouTube thing. Please only serious inquiries, and please only contact me after you've successfully rendered it out, because I need to know that this actually for sure works. Not just you found a post on Reddit and it said, try this. Actually try it yourself and let me know if it works. If you can find a way to make this work, I would really appreciate that, because I would feel really bad if I have to take the credits thing off of the things that I am promising to people, because I really do want to provide that for you guys. I think it's the least I could do, and I hate that this technical problem is getting in the way, but none of my Googling is getting me to a solution here. It's really disappointing. I really want to solve this, but I can't figure it out, and all I'm finding are other people reporting the same issue and spitballing ideas, and no one seems to have a solution. Oh yeah, I almost forgot, I have to do Patreon shoutouts now. I'm still so not used to this yet. It's only my second time ever doing it. Thank you so much to the $50 supporters, both on the YouTube memberships and on Patreon. I think 3 of you are on one and 2 of you are on the other. Thank you so much, Jacob Busby, Javid Kusro, George Chaos, Sonlin, and Andy's My Legs In. Thank you so much for the continued support. I very much appreciate that. Now, if you'll excuse me, is there a day this summer in which there has not been a heat wave warning in Canada? I swear, I need to get out of this room. I'm getting drenched in sweat. I'm not even sitting down, and I'm getting drenched in sweat. I got a fan on me and everything. I'm wearing a tank top. I'm just boiling alive in here. The room is... My temperature thing doesn't even work anymore. Well, it's probably high 30s right now for Celsius. Probably. I know it is outside, and it gets hot and humid in here. It's brutal, man. Yeah, I just saw a notification on my phone this morning that says that the forest fires in Canada are so big now that they have burned, I think it was 7.5 million hectares of land have been burned now in the forest fires. It said that that is about the same size as New Brunswick, which is one of our provinces. Oh, the heat waves are bad this year, man. It reminds me of 2016. We had bad heat waves that year too. Not a fun time. Not a fun time. But I'll survive. I'm gonna go walk this off. Thank everybody so much for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.